This is Eleanor Hospice in Gravesend, one of Kent's busiest hospices. A registered charity, Eleanor provides treatment to over 2,500 people requiring care and support right across the county. The care that they deliver is free for people of all ages. 24 hours a day, 365 days of the year.
I have my own little motto, and it's live life hard and fast and every day as if it's your last.
You know, life is precious. When people realise they have a shorter time than they thought was likely, actually every moment matters.
Their 200-strong staff and 600 volunteers are dedicated to making people's remaining days the best they can be.
It's about just letting that person just leave the ward with dignity and respect.
I'm sure every nursing profession cares, but there's something special about hospice.
Hi.
Eleanor also take their support and treatment right into people's homes.
To have a really good cry is amazing.
You may think a hospice is a place people come to die.
Some people think as soon as you say the word hospice, that's the end of the road.
But it's actually a place people come to live.
There's a huge amount to offer.
It is full of fun. It is full of laughter.
You need to live life to the full. You don't know what's around the corner.
So let's make the most of what we've got.
It's 8 a.m. and Eleanor Hospice children's nurse Kay is making her way to her first home visit of the day.
I'm going to see Stanley. Stanley's just turned 5 years old and he was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia about 18 months ago. And being a boy, he undergoes 3 years of treatment, which is a really long time for a little boy to have out of his life. However, Stanley's family are very realistic, they're very stoic, and they just get on with things. They want life to be as normal as possible for Stanley. You know, families that try and wrap their child up in cotton wool, that really spoil their child because their child is sick, and really, that's not going to help. A good visit today would be in and out the house as quickly as I can, really, so that Mum can get them off to school and their life carries on in as normal as possible.
Today, Kay is taking Stanley's bloods as part of his ongoing medical treatment.
Just normal. Just taking Stanley's bloods as normal.
Oh, he's been all right.
Good. Good.
Yeah, he's been louder than normal.
I don't think we can do anything about that. Gonna sit nice. Cold. Cleany, cleany. Is it smelly? This bit smelly. Are we gonna sit still now?
Ready?
Ready. 1, 2, 3. Good boy. That's it. There we go. There we go. Look at that. Beautiful. You're going to clamp? That's it. Thank you very much. He's kind of got used to it, and it's quite strange to think that a child is used to having that done to them. You know, it's not right, is it? It's not normal for a 3, 4, 5-year-old to be having a procedure like that. Unclamp. That's it. Good boy. Can you do it? That's it. All the way. All the way. Yeah, well done. Good work. A lot of the children that we look after obviously don't have a good prognosis. So it's really lovely to work with somebody like Stanley, who's got a very good prognosis. So, you know, we're all very positive and hopeful that Stanley will make a good recovery. It's really nice for me as a professional to be able to offer support along that journey. That's it. Thank you. Do you want to put them in the bag?
That was pretty quick.
Yeah? It was very good. Thank you. Where do they go, Stanley? Where do your bloods go?
In the Marsden.
Yes, to the hospital.
Do you live there?
I don't live there, no. Would you like to choose stickers? After all, I'm sticking a needle in him. He knows that he'll feel it, but we've still had to build up for that relationship. He knows what I'm going to do when I come to the house. So he has to sort of build himself up to that every week.
Back at Eleanor, some of the day therapy patients are getting closer to nature as their weekly gardening therapy session begins with Alison.
I work as a gardening advisor and tutor around Kent, and I come into Eleanor to run the Green Shoots garden group. We've got about half a dozen people who come into day therapy on a Tuesday regularly. Some of them are keen gardeners, other people don't really know much about gardening, they haven't been hobby gardeners, but they like to learn, and learning's quite a big part of it as well. The main reason I really enjoy coming into Eleanor is because gardening is gaining in wider acceptance as a way of supporting and promoting people's mental well-being. We know it's great for people's stress levels and mental health.
When I was diagnosed with cancer and then damaged all my bones, so physically I can't do the manual work in the garden anymore.
Oh, yeah.
So to come into something like this where we can sit down, talk about plants, touch them, smell them, you know, it's a very nice hobby. We have made friends since we've been coming here, and sadly, we've lost friends as well.
It's kind of the nature of the place, isn't it?
And I find I really look forward to coming here. It's just one day a week, but you know, they lay on transport for us to come.
Yeah.
So
it's plenty of weeks we come along, isn't it? We ask, well, you've been out during the week, and realise it's the first time you've been out in a week. So we sit.
Yes, it does.
And quite often, he will discuss discuss his issues that he's had during the week. I'll discuss my issues, and it's a way of offloading those things. It's brilliant at the Eleanor, as you know, been able to us to do this, and you know, when she comes up each week to drive all the way up here to do this for us, you know,
it's something different every week.
It's fabulous.
I think the thing before I was in the wheelchair, I used to be out and about. So I used to do a lot of walking and biking and mountain climbing and all sorts. So it's kind of a way of getting back in touch with some of that.
Yes, on quite a small scale compared to mountaineering.
Well, I do small scale these days.
But I just love helping people get enjoyment from gardening and hearing the sort of comments about why they enjoy it. Yeah, that is why I do what I do.
It's 1 o'clock, and Alison and Hannah have just arrived at Eleanor to say thank you to Nurse Julie. This is the first time they visited the hospice since they lost their father and husband, Paul.
Okay, would you like to take a seat?
Thank you.
Alison, Hannah, thank you for coming in today. So how have you been in the last few months? How are things at home?
I'm not going to say it's easy. Paul was just... He was just an amazing man, Dad. So I'm not going to say it's easy. But, you know, we're going to carry on, and he's got, you know, Daniel and Hannah, who he was so proud of, and they will carry on.
You've got each other as well to support each other through.
They will carry on because of Paul.
Yeah. And there's a part of him still there with you.
Absolutely, yeah.
You have to live how he would want you to live. Yeah. And you have to carry on as much as you can, because he wouldn't want us to stop. Yeah, his motto was always, it's business as usual until I tell you otherwise. And that's what it was.
Brave man.
He was really brave. Yeah. That's one thing, you know, that's important about Paul. He didn't let it get him down, so it didn't bring me down, and it didn't bring the children down until the very end when it got really difficult. But he was definitely an illness bravely fought.
And I remember because Dad got ill when I was still at school, and I remember all of my friends and everyone saying, you would never know that he was poorly. Nobody would believe it. Because he just...
It's a real testament to him, isn't it?
No, he was. No, he was.
He was.
The Hospice at Home team came into our lives about 5 weeks before, and Paul was lucky enough to come here for the last 12 hours, and that was the best for him and us as a family.
Once we got here, it was just like we could be a family again. At home, it was really hard because everyone was trying to do something, everyone was trying to, you know, be a part of Dad's care, whereas here, the team just took that all away and we could just be with him.
We do quite often say that to relatives when they come in, because obviously they have been carer, they have been, and you now can be wife, you can be daughter.
Yeah, and that was one of the first things that was said to me as well, that I could be as involved if I wanted, or, you know, watch from the side. And one of the first things that was done for Paul was he was shaved, and that gave us back that man. Yeah.
Paul was under the home care team, not just the inpatient unit. So even though he was only on the ward for 12 hours, obviously he'd had a lot of input and support from the home care support team, which has obviously made a great deal of difference to them, and they just want to give back. They're just grateful, and it's nice to see. And now you're doing your midwifery, and you're just about to qualify.
Yeah.
So well done to you.
Yeah. I made the decision about a year ago that whatever happened, I would see it through to the end.
Dad would have wanted you to do it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It is extremely satisfying when relatives come back. Lets us know we're getting our job right, and like I said before, our job satisfaction level is very high because we know we make a difference. Those relatives are telling us that we really make a difference to them. And it's just a lovely feeling to go home all feeling warm, and I've really helped people today.
I would never, if I'd gone home and said to Dad I was stopping or I was taking time off, he would have just told me that I'd been silly. So definitely wanted to see it through and just make sure that make him as proud as I can.
And I'm sure on your graduation he'll be there with you.
Yeah.
Hospice nurse Kay is visiting 5-year-old leukaemia patient Stanley and his mum Catherine. Whilst Stanley's prognosis is positive, this has been a long road for Catherine and the family.
Finding the balance between the three of them, especially with when he has to go to the hospital. What do you do with the other two? They miss out. And then you feel guilty leaving them. You feel guilty leaving him. Who goes with who?
You're really torn, aren't you?
And it's,
And you don't want them to resent him.
No.
For those extra little treats.
Well, they have said a few times, how come? Well, how come he got that? Oh, well, I'm really sorry, but he's had a horrible day. If it was you, you would want a little treat if you'd had...
If you'd had needles stuck in you.
Because to them, he was ill and now he's fine, and he just has this. They don't realise.
He's fine, doesn't he? He's just Stanley.
Well, the mum's at the school. Oh, so he's fine now. No, he's still on his treatment for the next 2 years. Oh, well, what is that? Well, every day he has oral chemo, and then once a month he has steroids for a week, and then once a week he has an extra one. Then at the weekend he has antibiotic. I just think, you bet you wish you never asked now. You know.
So his mobility is really getting better.
Because I look back, watching him running in the park, I think last year he couldn't walk. So to come that far in such a short time, I think, oh, do you know what? All the little stuff, it doesn't matter. We'll go with it. It doesn't matter that you've got string for arms and your feet sometimes turn out. We'll go with it.
It just goes to show how small things can mean such a lot. Things that you would normally take for granted in a child of Stanley's age, but because he's going through treatment, you know, he doesn't find these things easy.
Yes, we just got practice.
It's just that, you know, getting used to something new.
And he ran properly at the park. Did he? A proper knee run. Like, yay! Everyone else can just run.
Yeah. Oh, that's really lovely.
Well, sports day, we're going to crack sports day. We're all over that.
I think Catherine has found a really good balance. She doesn't want to mollycoddle him. She doesn't want him to become a spoilt child, because at the end of his treatment, he's going to just have to be normal like every other child. And if he's been overprotected from the outside world, that's going to be really difficult for him. And I think that she's got a really good balance with that.
We'll get there.
Well, you're doing a fantastic job, you really are. And you know we're there at the end of the phone.
Yes.
So if ever you need anything, we just want to rant.
Oh, I love a rant.
Fine. That's also fine.
We do love your visits.
We do.
Thank you very much.
Lovely. Thank you. Bye. Bye. It was lovely to see Stanley at his best today, and full of life as he usually is. And I'm sticking a needle in him. I mean, that's a big thing for a 3, 4, 5-year-old to have done to him, particularly with a child of Stanley's age. It really helps if you can get the child to engage and be part of the procedure as well. It's just giving him a little bit of control over what's being done to his body. The treatment is working, so I'm really optimistic that it'll be a good outcome for him.
Last week, Eleanor's resident physio, Andy, visited David to help him with his mobility issues. David has motor neuron disease and struggles with day-to-day movement. But now, back at Eleanor, things are about to get physical. David is coming to his first ever seated exercise class at the hospice.
Exciting exercise class today because it's the first one in my new gym, which has been lovingly renovated. Perfect. Hello, David. Welcome to Exercise Group.
Hi.
Welcome. Good to see you. Ready to do some hard exercise, yes?
So.
Sort of. Perfect. Well, we're going to have some fun today. We'll get the rest of the group in and we'll start our exercises up. Excellent. Brilliant to see you. Come on, exercises to do. You're going to need weights. So welcome to Exercise Group, welcome to the new gym. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 here today. Excellent turnout, brilliant.
Exercise is only exercise if it challenges you. So people aren't here to sit around and have a chat, they are here to do some work. And that's what we try and do in the exercise group, is we put some music on, we do exercises, we have a few laughs along the way, but ultimately it's with a serious message. You're here to get stronger and to keep yourself as fit as possible.
So beanbags down onto the feet. Good. And you need to straighten your leg up and then down again without the beanbag falling off.
Or towel.
Or towel, or bag. It's a bit precarious. Now, if you can't reach all the way round, just go halfway round and then come back the other way.
So I think David probably realised that there were parts of the exercise regimes that he wasn't able to do. And I think sometimes that mentally that can cause problems with people when
when you're being asked to do something specific and you're not able to. But actually David didn't let that stop him. He did what he could with his good strong left arm, and he was trying to use his right arm where possible. And I think that really is the key, is do what you can as much as possible for you, and then see if that improves. So that showed me he would be a great asset to the exercise group. Okay, and let's have a few. What are we drinking this week? David, what are we drinking this week? Everything, anything. Sounds good to me.
I'm with him.
Yeah. You're buying though, right? It's the rules. He wasn't becoming disheartened, or he certainly didn't appear to be becoming disheartened to me. So I think that's exactly the right attitude, and that's why I think David will get a lot out of coming to the group, is because he comes here and he tries his hardest. He wants to try and use his legs, he wants to try and use his arms, and so when he's doing the exercises, he doesn't get despondent, he doesn't get frustrated, he just tries to enjoy the ride and certainly put as much effort in as he can. Good, David, nice. I've totally lost count.
8.
Yeah, that's not 8. Beanbags in our hands. We're aiming for the bucket. And when you're ready, into the bucket. Look at that.
Very good.
Arms up in front of you. And give yourselves a round of applause. Well done. Good stuff. Good workout today, guys. Really
Thank
good
you,
work.
Andy.
You're welcome.
And I mean it.
So overall, it was a really successful class. People here had a good exercise session. There was a few beads of sweat on brows at the end, which was always a good sign. There were a few laughs along the way, and David, our newest member, seemed to enjoy himself and even suggested he'd be coming back in the future, so that's a win all round.
Eleanor continues to support relatives even after their bereavement. Alison and Hannah recently lost their beloved husband and father. They're discussing ways they can give back to the hospice.
So, obviously it's been a few months now since Paul died. How did you feel coming back on the ward today?
I felt like it was like I just remembered what an amazing experience that we'd had, and I was just thankful for that I'm sure there's families along this corridor that have gone through exactly the same as what I have, but to know that you guys are taking care of those families, that gives me comfort.
Yeah, that's lovely.
I hope that from my nightmare some good will come, because I would certainly like to get involved on this side, on your side more, because of what I've been through. And obviously had to take my children through, because it was 7 years. It was a long time, but it wasn't all bad.
So it's been not well really for...
Yeah, but I think that's the most important thing that I would always want to get across to people. It's not all bad.
We hear that quite a lot. A lot of relatives would want to come back and be a volunteer, for example, on the ward. But yeah, we do get a lot of relatives that want to raise money for us, and they'll do charity events such as baking cakes, jumping out of airplanes, all sorts of things.
Yeah, you do make the hardest part of anyone's life that much more beautiful, you know.
Thank you.
Wouldn't be easy.
That's why we do the job. Yeah. We get an incredible sense of job satisfaction doing this job. So. Alison and Hannah, very together, very supportive of each other, you can see that. And they're going to carry on supporting each other. And Dad, her husband and their dad will always be there, always be a part of them. And it's nice to see that. Thank you for coming in. It's really good to see you again, Alison and Hannah.
Thank you.
I wish you all the best, and we're here if you need us.
Thank you.
They've always got a little bit of Dad or their husband with them. That's a really nice feeling, and I'll always be imagining Hannah now on her graduation day and how proud her Dad will be looking over, and he'll be with her. Yeah, that's lovely.
At Eleanor, junior sister Julie's role sometimes includes having difficult conversations with patients. Ward patient Thelma has been struggling to cope at home on her own, so Julie wants to discuss whether she's considered moving into a nursing home after being discharged from Eleanor.
Okay, so Thelma, What's your understanding of why you've come into the hospice?
Because I've got lung cancer.
Right.
And I keep falling over.
Was you falling over at home?
Oh, yeah.
Does anybody live at home with you?
Not permanently.
Thelma's been with us just under a week. She came in initially, she was what we would call a social admission crisis at home. It was really, this lady was living alone. She was having falls. She wasn't really very safe on her own. Obviously her family, her son, very concerned. So she came into us initially for respite. She does appear to be deteriorating since she's been here. We can't hold her here. If she wants to go home, we have to send her back home. But we have to put things in place to make her safe. Because you was not coping very well at home on your own, because you was falling over, wasn't you? Particularly at night time. You was getting a little bit muddled and a little bit confused.
Yeah. Sounds awful when you say like that.
Not at all. Like I said to you earlier, lots of things can do that to you. Medications can do that to you. Your disease can do that to you. So now you're here, our concern is to make sure that you're safe. Do you think that going back home will be safe?
I'd like to think that I take steps to make sure that I'm safe.
Okay, what sort of steps do you think you need to take?
Well, I don't know, not balancing on ladders and things and...
So as we're not a long-term placement, we start to look at and assess where patients can go from here. Staff, and I know the son, definitely feel that she's not necessarily safe to go back home. Do you think that maybe you'd be safer somewhere like a nursing home? Where there's people here, there 24 hours a day, like there are here, that can help you?
Maybe it's hard to say, isn't it? If you've never experienced that.
Yeah. Sometimes it's a case of giving the patient time to think about their options. Give them the options, let them think about it and come back and readdress it later on. Okay, well we'll catch up with you later when your son comes in. Okay. I need to go and speak to Dr. B. I need her to assess really to see if she has got capacity, because obviously if she hasn't, we don't want to be sending her home and she's not safe. And if she has, then we don't want to be sending her to a nursing home if she really doesn't want to go.
David has motor neuron disease and has broken a sweat after his first exercise class with hospice physiotherapist Andy. David's partner has come to see how the exercise class went.
I was really pleased, actually, David, with how well he did today. And I hope you were.
David had a walk round the supermarket yesterday with me.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes.
How did that go?
That went well. I was surprised that you decided to walk all the way around. We chose a supermarket where David could sit down if he wished, but you took the trolley and put your hand up and pushed around the trolley for me. And we did quite a big shop, so it was down every aisle.
Oh, David, I can only apologise that she's got you going back shopping again.
For the partners to see that they are in the kind of environment that they are, exercising, happy, smiling, enjoying themselves. I think physio has a bit of a reputation. I think people have this fear about physio and they come in and think, oh, I'm going to be beasted. And actually it's about saying to them, no, it's okay. We exercise as much as we need to. Don't worry.
I think the most encouraging thing for me is that we set you that challenge last time we met about getting out and coming to the exercise group and coming to do something slightly different, and you've managed to achieve that in a week. And part of that is the confidence that you've got in yourself again, and working on the strength in your legs. So now we need to think about what's the next challenge. You couldn't play 18 holes before all of this happened.
I think the greatest news from today was to hear about all the things that David and his partner have done and are planning on doing. Something so simple like a trip to the supermarket, which we take for granted, actually is a big thing for David. He's not been able to do that for a very long time, and suddenly he can have a stroll around the supermarket with his partner discussing what they might get for dinner. And little choices like that and little influences in the household have a huge impact on someone's self-esteem and what their role is in life and within the family unit. The tough side with David is that we know that he will deteriorate. We don't know the speed at which that will happen because nobody has a crystal ball. Every day needs to be important, and they need to make sure that they are doing the maximum amount that they can. And even more than that, that they were planning for the future to say, actually, we're going to the garden centre to meet up with friends for a coffee. We're planning on a trip to the coast. And it's great that they've come up with all these things that they're willing to try, just from giving them that bit of confidence and saying, it's all right to go out, look how well David's doing.
Eleanor's staff are specialists at guiding terminal patients through the various stages of their disease. Nurse Tracey is beginning that journey with a patient today.
Today we're going to see Patricia Eaton. She's a 71-year-old lady who's coming in to see me in clinic here. She is a lady who was diagnosed at the end of last year with lung cancer. Her husband actually died under our care in 2014, so probably a little bit of support for the family is going to be needed as well. So Pat, I asked you to come into clinic today because I've not met you before, so I thought it's good for me to get to know you, introduce myself, and so that you know that there's a face to the voice at the other end of the phone if you need to.
Okay.
You've started your immunotherapy, I believe.
Yeah, I've had 2 sessions of immunotherapy, which seem to be going relatively fine, actually. The latest thing is that they have found cancer hotspots on the back of my brain.
OK, you had an MRI, didn't you?
I did have an MRI.
OK.
And one of the worst things with this brain hotspot is that I've been told I can't drive anymore.
Oh, OK.
And I'm a very independent, spontaneous person.
Yeah.
And to have that suddenly whipped away from you. I mean, I know I can get taxis, but it still isn't the same as just being able to make
Jump
a decision.
in the car.
Oh, I fancy going somewhere and just going.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's something I'll just have to come to terms with.
And how are your son and daughter? Because obviously they lost their dad as well.
They did. I think they're being exceptionally strong because I am. I'm sure at private moments with their partners, they have rough times. I know they do.
Mm-hmm.
They both got very, very busy lives.
She's getting married, isn't she?
Yeah, she gets married on the 3rd of May. And with the worry of me, you know, I feel so sorry for both of them that they're having to worry about this, but they're fantastic. They have been so supportive. I think James probably found it the hardest to actually open up about his feelings. And my husband was exactly the same. But this time he said to me, I'm not going to bury my head in the sand this time, Mum. And he's been there for me every time I need him.
Excellent.
So, yeah.
And we've got a really good family support team here as well that we can refer to, and they kind of help support Cara and James as well. So I'll make sure, if that's okay with your permission, that we refer and speak to them about it as well, so they can kind of pick up and see if there's anything they can do to help while I help look after you. I can kind of associate certain things with her. I lost my dad 5 years ago, and that affected my son in an awful way. He's still struggling at the moment. So I can understand how hard she finds it, knowing that her children are going to be seeing her deteriorate as well, and that she feels a sense of that she needs to mother them all the time that she can.
When my husband was ill, he said that he wanted to stay at home as long as possible. Not until the medical services said it would be better for him to be in the hospice did he want to be moved. And obviously, as a family, we supported him with that. Having said that, the pain management for him didn't work at home. Sometimes it was 2.5, 3 hours before somebody could get to him.
The community nurses were...
So I said to Leslie when I came, somewhat of a facetious comment, but please can I book my bed? Because I do not want to go through what my husband went through.
Unfortunately, the district nurses aren't always available right at the time when these things are needed. So she's made the brave decision already that she wants to come here for end-of-life care.
Yeah, I mean, that's just me being a coward, but then I've...
It's not a coward at all.
Well, if you let your imagination take over, if I try to imagine what it's going to be like for me in the future, I will have to deal with that now, not really knowing what it's going to be like, pure imagination. Then I'm going to have to deal with it when it actually happens. So in fact, I'll finish up dealing with it twice.
A double blow.
Which is absolutely pointless. I mean, my attitude at the moment is I deal with today.
Yes.
I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't know how long I'm going to be here for. I mean, originally my diagnosis was somewhere between 3 months and 2 years. So I'm sort of coming towards the end of my 3-month period, but I don't feel, I'm hoping that is not now a realistic time span for me.
No. The problem with giving timescales is everybody's journey is different.
Yes, of course.
And then people sit there thinking, well, I've been told that I'm now approaching the end of those 2 years, and some people like way outlive these things. So to get hung up on timescales, I think is worse. So living day by day is probably the better attitude to have.
I've had days when I feel that if I let go, I could sink, I say sink because it would be a sink, but I could be overtaken by emotion. So the emotion, for me, has to be positive rather than negative.
So today I think went really well. Pat got to meet me, so she knows my face now, the voice on the end of the phone, and hopefully I've made her relax a little bit so that if she has got any worries and if there is anything that she was putting on the front today, she may open up to me in a future visit.
Patient Thelma was admitted to Eleanor for respite as she was struggling to cope at home on her own. There's concern about her safety once she's been discharged, so Nurse Julie is seeking advice from Dr. B.
Okay, so I've had a chat with Thelma this morning. We've had a conversation about she wants to go home. We've had a conversation about how safe and how practical and realistic that might be. I've had a conversation with her about nursing homes. I've already spoke to Matt, her son, and he's happy for her to go to a nursing home. He's quite concerned about being at home on her own. She's not safe, etc. Because there's small vessel involvement in the brain, they would like to know that she has capacity to make the decision or not as to where she's going from here.
I see where you're coming from, because obviously everyone remembers things in their own way, and I don't think she'll ever remember the full thing, but I think she definitely does understand and remember the important bits. And if she, you know, if she wants to go home, even if we don't think that she should, I mean, part of the whole capacity thing is actually you're okay to make
the decision.
Any decision, whether we think it's poor or not, really. And that's up to her, and she'll have to discuss that with her family. But yeah, we'll definitely do that today.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Why don't you do that bit then?
Meanwhile, Theresa from the Wellbeing team is setting up for the Bereavement Cuppa, an informal gathering for bereaved relatives. It's a safe space where stories are shared and friends are made. The group settles in and Theresa catches up with some regulars.
Although basically we're only coming here and talking, if you get upset, everybody understands. You don't say, look at that person over there crying.
No.
You know,
You're not judged,
No.
are you?
No.
You can sit here and talk if you want to, and if you don't want to talk, you just sit here, don't you? You know, you do whatever you feel comfortable with. When people come to the bereavement group, they feel very safe here. Everybody in the room knows exactly what they're going through, and so people feel it's just a very safe place for them to be able to get emotional.
Around this time last year, which was, Mick had died in December last April, I thought, I need help.
Why?
So where am I going to go?
Yeah.
I need help.
Yeah.
And there's all my leaflets that I had, and there's the bereavement cuppa. And I thought, well, I'm going to go here.
So at that point then, did you not then have counselling? You just came to the bereavement
I didn't have any
group?
counselling, no. I did not have
Do
any.
you find then that the bereavement groups are the things that have helped you?
It is my counselling, the bereavement group.
Yes.
Because everybody thinks that we're sitting here sobbing our hearts out, and sometimes we are.
Yes, absolutely.
Sometimes, but that's okay as well.
Yeah.
But sometimes we're not. Sometimes we can have a laugh and we can have a joke.
Yeah.
And we can talk about our partners, and we can talk about the people we loved. And anything we want to talk about, we can talk about here. So I call it my safe place. I call it, I'm going just for my cuppa.
No matter how long ago it was that their loved ones passed away, they can still come here, have a conversation, get upset, talk about their loved one, share memories, get emotional about that and not be judged for that.
I didn't think I needed anything. What I had to get over was being angry with him for having left me with all the maintenance of the house. And that sounds really selfish, doesn't it? When you go through this phrase, I keep thinking, now what if something really, the boiler bursts or something dramatic happens? He's not here. Do you know what I mean? And if the light bulb goes, I've got to drag a chair over, stand up and change it now. What a lady muck I must have been. Because the 30 years with Mick...
You did it.
He did everything.
Yeah.
He did everything.
But do you find that sometimes when you're having a good day, you feel guilty for having a good day?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah. And people didn't realise how close Bob and I were. Mr. Marsden, a lot of people realise... Oh, here we go.
No, please don't be sorry. Don't be sorry.
It's, I don't know, it's something that you have to be in the position of to understand. I know it sounds rubbish, but it's so true, you know, I think.
That love is unconditional.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
It just gives you such good job satisfaction that you know you're doing something good and you're giving back even though you're not really doing anything. You're just sitting listening to people and allowing them to share their stories and their grief and their memories of their loved ones that we would never know about unless they shared that with us.
Dr. B and Nurse Julie decide it's time to check in on Thelma to see if she's capable of making the decisions she needs to about her future living arrangements.
How are you?
I'm all right.
We just had a chat, didn't we? And I gave you quite a lot of information.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about everything? So. Do you remember what we spoke about, Thelma?
Oh, yes. Should I go... should I go home? Or should I go to a nursing home where I can be looked after? Or...
Yeah. How are you feeling about that? What are your thoughts? What have you...
Well, it's a bit sort of unnerving.
Do you feel that you need more time with this decision? Because there's no rush.
A little bit, maybe.
Let's give you more time. I just wanted to make sure that this decision that you're making, you are in a good, sound mind to make it. And it's also my job to give you as much information as you want, and Julie's job. So if you need us, you call us and we'll sit and talk through everything with you. Do you know what I mean?
Even if that's at night time, we're all here at night time as well.
So don't worry about anything. I think that you're of sound enough mind to make your own decisions. Yeah? And I'll speak to your son about that as well. And you make the decision as a family.
She clearly wasn't feeling threatened about that conversation. She was quite calm, relaxed about it. Again, that's approaching the conversation gently, has done that. If we'd have gone in a little bit more abrupt or a bit more brisk about it, she may have had a totally different reaction to that conversation.
Thank you, Thelma. We'll give you some more time. Think about it. Okay, thank you.
I was quite pleasantly surprised, actually, and she did remember conversations that Thelma and I and the doctor and her had had earlier. I didn't feel she was retaining any memories, but she clearly is. She clearly does have capacity, and we've definitely got her and her son discussing, which is a good thing. So yeah, it's been a good day.